Good morning, Indy Nation. I'm Anamikosh, and this is Indy Nation News, and here's what you need to know as you start your day. Please join the Indy girls soccer team on Tuesday, May 25th for a Fill the Stands night. There will be trivia games, a 50-50 raffle, and prizes will be given away both at JV and varsity games. Prior to the game of the varsity game, we will also be honoring our first senior class. Kickoff is at 6 p.m. for JV and 7:30 p.m. for varsity. Thank you for all the support for the FCA food drive. The food drive will keep on continuing until the end of May. Please drop the foods listed on the slides to the rooms and teachers on the slide. There are also a FCA meeting on Tuesday, May 25th at 8:30 a.m. in Ms. Bale's room 1609 or joined via Google Meet in the FCA. NDPEER has been collaborating on their annual Equity and Social Justice Initiative. They have created a video about the power of language and the ways we can work to use language for good. Check it out.
We all know that words have an impact. We've all been on the receiving end of it, but sometimes, even with good intentions, words can convey a different message. This message even includes discrimination.
Microaggressions are subtle interactions or behaviors which can be intentional or unintentional that communicate bias towards historically marginalized groups. They can be based on economic status, gender, sexual orientation, and more. There are 3 types of verbal microaggressions: microassaults, microinsults, and microinvalidations. Microassaults are slight explicit insults expressed to marginalized groups. Microinsults are subtle insensitivities that demean one's racial heritage. And lastly, microinvalidations undermine the experiences of certain groups of people. Microaggressions can reinforce stereotypes and lower self-esteem. However, something that gets overlooked is that microaggressions don't just impact the person receiving the comment, it impacts the people around them too. Microaggressions can impact certain groups without intending so it's really important to think before you speak and understand that words have an impact.
There are many ways people offend others without even noticing it. Everyday phrases we've heard since we were little kids could be offensive towards someone and we wouldn't even know. A good example of this would be the "like a girl" statement. Although it's not a phrase we were born knowing, it's something that's put out there to be negative, and we're taught that doing something like a girl means doing something less than doing it like a boy or a man. In a video that we have talking about this statement, "like a girl," a young boy is asked a question if he thinks this phrase offends his sister, and he replies, "No, it may offend other women, but not his sister, because although we would never personally hurt those around us, we can sometimes hurt those that are around others without even knowing it, using statements like a girl or other statements that would be related."
Another way we can be more mindful through language is through the use of pronouns. Now, I will preface this section with, I know this can be a sensitive topic for a lot of people, but the main goal is to come from a place of genuine understanding and mindfulness. So, pronouns refer to the identifier one uses and feels comfortable with others to use to refer to them. So whether that's she, her, hers, he, him, his, they, them, theirs, a combination of the 3, none of those 3, or even simply just their name. Pronouns somebody uses can be something they have thought long and hard about, or it could be something they're trying for the first time, experimenting with different pronouns to find what they're comfortable with. Or maybe they've had the privilege of not even needing to think about their pronouns that hard. Pronouns are just like names. You wouldn't intentionally call someone by the wrong name just based on how they look. Pronouns should reap those same benefits and respect. Non-binary and gender non-conforming persons do not owe anybody androgyny for them to respect their pronouns. Same goes for transgender and cisgender people who use she, her, or he, him pronouns. They don't owe you femininity or masculinity for anybody to respect their pronouns. Normalizing the use of pronouns helps more than it hurts. Being mindful of pronouns can be done in a multitude of ways, whether that's putting it in your bio on social media, if that doesn't jeopardize your safety, of course, putting it in your signature at the end of an email, or just introducing yourself. A simple, "Hi, my name is Chloe, and I use she, her pronouns. What's your name?" can mean a lot more than you think.
We can all do our part in making the world a more inclusive place where everyone feels free to express themselves and show their true colors. In doing that, we must be cognizant of the existence of microaggressions and speak up to end the stigmas reinforced by them. Another thing we need to do is help normalize the asking of pronouns because someone's physical presentation doesn't automatically connect them to an identity. So asking for everyone's pronouns will make society more inclusive for everyone. It doesn't take much to achieve this goal, but everyone must do their part, even if it's just slightly changing the way we speak to others or carrying an understanding of the things we've discussed here. Remember that positive change starts with you. Thank you for listening.
UNICEF is holding a donative drive for the Leesburg Homeless Shelter starting Monday, May 17th to Friday, May 28th. We have donation boxes located around Independence, especially ones that are outside room 1421, which is the science hall, and near the main office. Please consider donating kids' toys, dolls, cars, etc., paper towels, bath tissues, and Kleenex in the boxes labeled with Independence High School UNICEF, as this is what has been specifically requested by the shelter. Any donation will help our community in the Leesburg Homeless Shelter. Indy UNICEF thanks you. Calling all talented tigers. The SCA is looking for musicians, magicians, and martial artists, dancers, drummers, and duets to perform in the second annual Indie Live talent show to be held during Spring Spirit Week, June 1st to June 4th. All talents are invited to audition. To complete the audition form and upload your audition video, check out the link in your class Schoology or use the QR code on your screen. Completed auditions must be submitted by 4 p.m. on Monday, May 24th, so don't delay. Class of 2022, if you're interested in designing your senior shirt, please send a design to Miss Andrews or Mrs. Purdue by June 15th. The information is posted in your school's Schoology page. As now we have the first in what will be the series of INN special reports. COVID has nearly turned everything upside down, and at Indy that includes how clubs operate. INN reporter Ali Hisunas takes a deep look at this issue and has more on how students are still finding ways to get involved and to give back.
Hello and good morning, Indy Nation. I'm Ali Hissenius, and welcome to Clubs vs. COVID. Today we're going to be uncovering how the clubs at Independence High School have stayed afloat during the coronavirus pandemic. To answer some of my most burning questions about how the clubs were operated during this time, I turned to the heads of some of the finest clubs at Independence High School to get the answers I needed to get to the bottom of this story. First up was Mr. Ellis, the advisor of SCA. I met with him through Zoom to ask him a few questions about how he oversaw SCA this year and how he made sure everybody in the community felt connected to Indy during the pandemic.
And to accommodate for the social distancing and the meetings you had to have on the internet, have you found any hacks or things that have really worked for keeping your club together that you may not have thought of before? And do you plan on keeping any of these newfound hacks in your repertoire for next year?
Wow, that's a really good question. One of the things that I think was actually beneficial was having to do so many of the committee meetings through Google Meet, I think actually allows us to be a little more focused at times. When we've got 26 people in 6 different committees working in the same classroom at the same time, it's really easy to sort of for students and for me to get distracted by what another group's working on or to want to engage with another group. But that's something that I would consider using again in future planning because it did allow us to be sort of laser focused on the exact task that we were working on at that moment.
Next up, I wanted to see how clubs were getting students involved with their organizations through virtual mediums. For answers on this, I looked to Casserly Grace, the president of the National Art Honor Society, to see how NAHS was gearing up for interactive events that would bring together the families of Independence High School.
Specifically with the gingerbread competition, that was amazing because we know that people took the time to sit down with their family members and just have a fun couple hours just making something artistic and just, getting to spend those quality moments. And I think that that was one of the most important things for us was just knowing that even though we're so distant in this current time, that we were just helping bring people together and just have fun together.
One of the most sought-after clubs to participate in this year was Indy Serves. This club is dedicated to volunteering around the Nova area and bringing joy and necessities to people in need. To see how this hands-on and participant-reliant club operated during this trying time, I turned to the co-presidents Anthony Paganin and Dara Elbaum for the inside scoop on how they shifted their club to meet COVID guidelines.
For you guys today is what was the biggest challenge you faced this year when it came down to actually running Indy Serves?
So I would say our biggest challenge is really being able to connect with our members because we haven't been able to meet in person. It's all been online. And with not everyone having their cameras on, it's been hard to meet everybody and connect. And we also haven't been able to do as many in-person projects as we want to. We haven't been able to go to Washington, D.C. or anything this year. So that would probably be the biggest challenge so far.
Yeah, and then another thing that we got to do this year was that was really cool were card drives. We did them for the teachers, and then we also did them for the senior citizens, and that was really cool because we got to see everyone's creativity come into play, which isn't something we even knew we could do last year. So it just took a little bit more research, but we found a lot of stuff that we would have never done before.
So, how did these clubs and organizations at Independence stay afloat during the coronavirus pandemic? Well, they had Zoom, Google Meet, some members that were willing to take this ride with them, some very supportive advisors, and some very strong and determined leaders that would stop at nothing to ensure a great year for Indy. By defying the odds of a trying year, these clubs have truly gone above and beyond for the community. Follow for more updates from these clubs as they gear up for their final end-of-year projects. I'm Ali Hysenius, and thank you for joining me today on Clubs vs. COVID.
Good morning. I'm Indy Nation weather reporter Hannah Skenga, and this is your Indy Nation forecast for today. Today there's going to be sunny skies, winds light and variable, and a high of 84 degrees. Later in the evening, you can expect a few clouds, winds light and variable, and a low of 54. That's your Indy Nation forecast. I'm weather reporter Hannah Skenga. Back to you.
That's all the time we have for this edition of Indy Nation News. Have a great day, and we will see you right back here tomorrow.